Welcome to another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. In today's episode, I get the opportunity to talk to Alfonso Cota from San Diego State SHPE chapter. In this interview, I get the opportunity to ask him about the recent internship that he obtained with Collins UTC. In this episode, we also get to talk about his passion for music and other things that he likes to do for recreational purposes. Welcome to another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. Thank you so much to the audience for watching. This is an audio, also a video for those that are in the YouTube channel, and for the podcast version, audio. So today we have Alfonso Cota. He's a San Diego State University student. He's a mechanical engineer, and he recently acquired a position with Collins for an internship over the summer. And we're here to talk to Alfonso Cota. Alfonso Cota, welcome. Thank you for joining me with Success Innovation. So can you please share a little bit about who you are and what you've been through, what you're doing at the moment?
Well, of course, I'm a mechanical engineering student at San Diego State University, like you said. I guess I got into mechanical engineering because in high school I did robotics club, and I really liked, all that design and the manufacturing and building process, and that's what started to interest me.
Okay, so you went directly from Montgomery High to San Diego State.
Yes.
Right? How was that transition for you?
It was tough because...
It was tough?
Yes. Because
what was the toughest part of it?
I think it's just the whole planning out your classes, planning out your time, that time management aspect of it. So because in high school, everything is planned out for you. Okay. Here, of course, in college, like you would know, you have to plan everything out yourself, and you're all on your own. So it's a tough transition, but
How long did that, would you say, now looking back in retrospect? Because you're what, you're a senior now?
Yes,
you're a fourth year. Okay.
Fourth year, yes.
So being a fourth year at San Diego State mechanical engineer, you actually had, at your freshman year, you go to orientation, you're really excited, I get accepted to San Diego State, and you go through that phase.
Yeah.
Your first class, first day in school, you're like, cannot believe this is happening, right?
Yeah.
At what point does that reality hit you where you're like, oh my God, I gotta really focus and really plan this out, otherwise I'm gonna lose that boat?
Well, I think it was after my first exam, and I remember exactly what exam it was. It was chemistry.
Okay, so it was chemistry 1?
Chemistry 2, actually.
Chemistry 2, okay.
I took a little placement exam just to be able to skip that first one.
Did you take any AP courses?
I did.
You did, okay, so that helped you out.
It helped me out a bit, yeah.
Okay, all right.
But great. Yeah, after that first chemistry exam, I remember I didn't do so well. Because at that point, in high school, where I would study, of course, but it wouldn't.
You didn't have those built-in habits.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not like you maybe your parents or your household wasn't really, focused on this is what you need to do in order to succeed, et cetera, in a well-planned out manner.
Yeah.
I mean, they sure supported you to a certain degree, your parents and your family, but obviously there's things that other students, other families do that maybe in your case wasn't so prominent, right?
Yeah.
So how did you pick that up, or what happened after that first exam at San Diego State in chemistry?
Yeah, like I said, I didn't do that great as I wanted to. So I really, got the idea I have to do something about it. So, I started to create study groups, and that's when my friends started helping me out. Those friends that had some of those habits, or little by little, we started to figure out what habits we needed, or what habits were good for each one of us. So that's when we started to get that in that mindset that, we need to study this way, or we need to prepare this way, or with this much time.
So you mentioned a group of friends.
Yes.
Okay, so in that group of friends, were they friends that you had going from high school, Montgomery High, over to San Diego State? You already knew them, or was this a new group of individual new friends that you made at San Diego State? It
was a new group of friends, but some of them I had known from high school just because of our robotics competition. So I already knew kind of who they were, or would recognize them, and we just started meeting up because we had similar classes.
Okay,
they were new friends.
So you already had some sort of acquaintance through that process. You went through the robotics team.
Yeah, right? It was a very limited acquaintance, but yes, I knew who they were.
All right. Yeah. Okay. Good. So you go through the classes, you start forming study groups. Now, you belong to an organization called SHIP,
Of course.
San Diego State,
Yes.
Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers. At what point do you actually join that organization, and why?
It was my junior year.
Your junior year.
Yes, and I joined that organization because I realized that, I've been going about 2.5 years through college, and I had not been involved in anything at all.
You were just focused on
I
class,
was just focused on my
getting
classes.
your grades, and going back to work, doing whatever, right? Okay.
Yeah. So I joined SHIP because, I wanted to join something that
How did you
interests-
find out about SHIP? You could have joined ASME. You could have joined what other organizations are there? ASCII for the civil guys, or the MEs, or maybe the car club. So
Well, there's propaganda. We get all these newsletters, we get all these different flyers for clubs and everything, and SHIP was just what interested me more because Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers is just what I more closely related with. So that's what interested me.
What was your first event at SHIP?
My first event
that you said, "Oh, I like this. This is going to be really cool. This is going to help me."
I believe it was one of the SHIP posadas.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I went to a posada. It was my first event, and I started to get to know, I think, Cesar and Juan and Rafa.
I see. Okay.
And those are the people. I was already in it, but they really motivated me to stay in it and just be really involved.
So being able to see older individuals finding role models and seeing this is where I could be in 10, 15, 20 years down the line. Yeah. That's kind of what motivated you to continue pursuing this organization, correct?
Well, yeah, it's that common realization where you meet people that have similar backgrounds as you, but they maybe they have different ages or they have a bit different careers, but they speak like you, and they're from places from where you're from. They visited the same places, they know the same people, and they speak the same language, and it was just a really cool thing to see,
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
that's pretty cool.
That's
pretty cool. All right. So now that you're in your 4th year,
yes,
you're almost ready to be done. Have you had any internships?
Internships? I have not.
You have not.
My first one this summer.
So you mentioned to me earlier, or we have spoken, and you are going into an organization, an industry called Collins, right?
Yes.
Collins UTC, it's an aerospace company. It's here local, San Diego, basically in Chula Vista.
Yes.
Can you kind of tell us how that happened?
Well, from SHIP, I had met various engineers from college, be it from mentorship or mentorship program there.
Because of that relationship between the industry and the student chapter at SHIP.
Yes.
So that opened up the opportunities for you.
So I had known various people there. And when I was at the SHIP National Conference in one of their hospitality suites, I went in, saw somebody I knew, talked to them, and he offered me an interview.
Wow. Okay, so you mentioned a really cool point. What is the National Convention? And can you just share with the audience and me, this is your first time going to a national convention? It was
the first time.
What did you expect? What was in your mindset? Like, oh, I'm just going to go in. I have no idea what a convention is, the magnitude of it. So tell us the before, the pre, and the during, and the post.
Well, beforehand, I didn't know what to expect. I knew there was a huge career fair. I knew there was various workshops, but I didn't know the whole setup of it, and I didn't know how big it was. How many people I was going to see there. So I just kind of, you could say I went in there with kind of a blank mind about what to expect.
Yeah, right.
And once I got there, it was surprising because once I stepped into that career fair, it was an amazing sight because you would see these huge setups of different companies where you would see.
Like, can you share with us what kind of companies show up? Just, I mean, briefly, because it could be, I could say it could be a small, simple company. You could imagine like, okay, well, Avis or Hertz or some sort of company like that, or maybe the military, not knocking them down, but that's more or less what career fairs in local high schools or you see quite a lot. So in this career fair, what did you see? And what stands out in your mind as you're telling us this story?
I think the first company that stood out for me was Google.
Google
was probably the first company just
Google.
because you were able to see their huge sign right in the middle.
It's a colorful one. It's blue, red, got yellow, and
very
it's
bright.
the big G.
Yeah,
Right.
it's a huge thing. I saw Google. I saw, I believe I saw Ford. Ford was probably a really good one. Nissan was probably one of the ones I saw first too.
Right.
And it was just, like Facebook. LG was probably one that was there too. Of course, I saw Collins, which was UTC.
Right.
Qualcomm. Just a whole bunch of really big room of just of a lot of different technological and engineering companies. And it was just surprising because I did not expect that much.
Why didn't you expect it?
I think I didn't expect it just because I didn't know what to expect. So I didn't know it would go that high up.
You didn't know it was going to be that big of an event.
And it was really cool. It was really cool. Even though, my interest doesn't go into a lot of those companies, it was just still amazing to see.
Obviously. I mean, if you see Dow, the chemical company, or if you see Collins, if you see Caterpillar, if you see John Deere, the big engineering companies. And when I say big, it's not just a small, a table or two tables. It's big. They go all out, and they have banners, they have signs, and it's really amazing.
They really make sure they stand out.
Right. Yeah. Not only that, the people there representing those companies are also Latinos for the most part. Correct?
Oh, yes.
So they make you feel more welcome.
Yeah.
It gives you that vibe of, oh my God, I really belong in this environment.
Yeah.
It makes you aware that you're valuable and you can add value to those companies.
Yes.
Am I incorrect, or
no, you're
is
right.
that what you felt?
Yeah, because I had some people that I talked to, some professional engineers that would even offer to speak in Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, just because, some people felt a little bit more comfortable because a lot of the students there, their first language was Spanish.
Right. Yeah.
So just to get that comfort out of them, to get that confidence, some of them would even, offer that.
Okay. So some students, and for our audience, they don't put that they're bilingual or they have a second language, Spanish being yours in this case. They don't add that into the resume. Why? Because they feel that, if I put this, it's gonna pretty much put a target on my back, and I might not get selected if the system sees this or if somebody sees it. What do you think about that?
I think
being bilingual has given you an opportunity, yes or no?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, because a lot of these different companies are international, or even if they're just national or local, they work with other countries or companies from other countries. So having that second language, I think, really opens up an opportunity for you. Because now you have these different positions or these different projects that could be offered to you just because you speak that language, just because you could go to another country and communicate with them clearly.
Right. Yeah.
So I think it's something really great to have on your resume.
Okay, awesome, great. So now, how did you go dressed? Did you have any expectations? What is the preparation leading up to the conference? The conference took place in October 31st, 1st of November, 2nd and 3rd, right?
Yes.
For this last conference. So how did you prepare? And you had never been to a conference. So what did you decide to take? Obviously, you know that there's possibilities of interviews, meeting individuals. So how do you, as a potential employment-seeking individual with an engineering mindset, go into a career field like this? Do you dress in t-shirt and jeans?
Oh, no.
What do you do?
No, it's suit and tie.
Okay, suit and tie.
Yeah, suit and tie.
Why do you use a suit and tie?
Because it's a professional event. You want to look as professional as you want. You want to look presentable to possibly your new boss, maybe.
Right.
So you never know who you're going to meet, so you want to be as presentable as you can.
Okay, all right. Now, in this conference, how do you find out? Obviously, you go in, do you just walk in and have like 20 resumes, 50 resumes in your little portfolio? Or do you have a mindset of, I'm going to target this company and this company and this other company. You have a set number of companies that you already target. So you have pre-made resumes tailored to them. Do you do research beforehand? How did you tackle it?
I think at one point it's a mixture of, everything, where you take enough resumes to be able to give out because you have enough time. There's
So it's
2
a
days.
general resume that you have,
Yeah.
and you print out several copies. So
There's
it's not
general-
like you
yes.
pinpointed a specific company that you wanted to target.
Well, there were some, because of course some people have their goals to talk to certain companies. Like for me, I of course wanted to talk to UTC. I wanted
Right.
to talk to John Deere, Caterpillar, Nissan, these different companies, GM, that was there also. But you also take these copies of just general resumes because you have enough time to go and talk to a lot of different companies that you probably didn't even expect to be there, and you want them to have your information.
Right.
Of course, there's no point in not wanting them to have your
Right,
information.
of course.
So, yeah, I think.
So can you kind of describe to the audience, when you walk in, obviously you're here alone,
Yeah.
and I'm here,
Yeah.
but how long is the wait to actually talk to a recruiter, more or less? And how many people are there? Because obviously there's more students looking for internships, trying to tackle, catch the attention of the human resources individual there.
Yeah.
So how does it work?
Well, we had to stand in line,
Right.
basically. There would be certain recruiters just waiting in their booth, and there would be a long line in front of them.
Right.
So it would vary. I think the longest I waited for a recruiter was probably 20 to 30 minutes.
20, 30 minutes.
And the shortest, there was times where I got there and there was available recruiters.
So
right
it's
there.
a good size length of line.
Yeah,
When you get to the recruiter, how much time do you actually have with them?
not much, about 3 to 5 minutes, I would
3
say.
to 5 minutes.
3 to
Okay,
5 minutes.
so
It's a quick thing.
what do you, in retrospect, what did you say to them, and how did you take the most advantage of that time that you had with the recruiters?
Well, you really have to practice that elevator
All right.
speech,
Okay,
right?
so you have to
Yeah.
practice an elevator
Yeah.
speech. What is an elevator speech?
Elevator speech is a probably 1 or 2 minute pitch where you present yourself, who you
Right.
are, what are your interests, what do you want to do, why are you talking to them,
Right.
just any general information and quick, something quick for them to really get to know you and try to spark an interest with them.
Okay, that's a good point. Trying to spark an interest, because the recruiters are human, and if you go early in the morning or early at the beginning of the conference or the career fair, obviously they're gonna be rested and ready to go and excited. But let's say you get to them halfway through, because it's a 4 or 5 hour event, right?
Yes.
4 or 5 hour career fair. So when you're there as a recruiter, like 3 hours, and you're like, geez, okay, I have an hour left of this. And you still look over on the horizon, you see a line of people, students, looking for an internship. You're tired.
Yeah.
What would you say to actually go ahead and spark an interest and create a lasting memory in them, that when you hand them that resume that says Alfonso Cota, they'll be like, oh, I remember who he is. You make your resume pink, or do you put a little star? What do you do?
Well, I think at the end of the day, like you said, they're human beings.
Right,
So
yeah.
They don't want to hear this robotic speech, this robotic conversation. They want to have, a good
A human interaction,
with
good
you.
conversation, engaging to a certain degree.
So I think what I always tried to do when I saw them that they weren't very interested or they didn't want to be there too much, I tried to just say little jokes. Just try to get a little smile out of them so they actually remember, because they speak to so many people that it's easy to get lost in their mind.
Yeah.
So if you make them laugh a little, or if you interact with them like a human being and not just as a recruiter or somebody that could, hire you, in a business way, in a business conversation, I think they really appreciate that. They really remember you because, you try to connect with them in some way.
So from your actual experience, how many interviews did you go through during that conference?
Interviews?
Or conversations with recruiters? Because, and to me, those are mini interviews.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
right. So how many conversations did you have with those recruiters? And off of those, how many interviews did you actually get?
I had about 5 or 6 conversations with different companies.
Okay.
And I got
the ones that you actually targeted, that you wanted to.
Yes, the ones that I targeted, yeah. Right. And I got the one Collins interview.
Okay, so, awesome. So you actually got a Collins interview.
Yes.
At that same conference?
Yes, I did.
Were you surprised?
I was surprised that I got actually not just one Collins interview. I got 2 Collins interview at that same conference.
Wow. Okay.
So I had the on-site interview with 2 engineers that were there to represent Collins, and that same day I had through the phone interview with my hiring manager.
Really?
Yes.
So the one that you actually got hired on was through the phone?
Yes, it was.
Those are hard.
Yeah.
How did it? I mean, obviously it went really well, but what was your mindset when you got that phone call?
It wasn't. I think I was more scared at first,
right?
Because what I did, I just found an empty room in the whole
building, auditorium, or whatever conference.
I went to the highest floor.
Right.
I found an empty room. Just made sure it was quiet. Just tried to prepare myself. Got there, I think, 20 minutes before I was supposed to.
So they gave you a time. They actually scheduled the interview, so you knew when it was going to be.
Yes, I knew it was going to be at around 2 p.m.
Okay.
So at 1:45, 1:40, I think I was already sitting, just trying to prepare myself, made sure I had my phone charged, and just tried to research the company a bit just to make sure I had some info going into it.
All right. Okay. So you're going through the interview, and the recruiter or general manager says, "Hey, we have this position, blah, blah, blah. Do you know about it?" What do you say when he kind of closes that conversation? Because they normally tend to ask you, "Thank you so much, Alfonso. A really interesting conversation. Do you have any questions for me?"
Oh, yeah.
Did he say that or not?
Yes.
Okay.
She did. She told me.
So it's a she. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a she.
She asked me if I had any questions,
yes.
And I did ask her. I believe one of the questions I just wanted to kind of get more information on the position because the description on the website sometimes is very vague,
right?
Or not
it's very general.
Yeah, but not very general.
Like
so she
mechanical engineer student, looking to have self-directed and be able to process and work independently, something like that. Right.
So I kind of asked her about a bit more about what I would be doing or what she might have planned for me if at that point if I would get the job.
Right.
But we had a good feeling about it. I had a good feeling about it.
You had a good feeling about it.
Yes.
Did you know her beforehand?
I did not.
You did not?
I did not.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
I knew the people in the first interview.
Okay, you knew the people in the first interview.
I did know the people.
The one that you didn't get?
The one, no. So that first interview was for both interviews were for the same position.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Okay.
Just that the hiring manager was not at the conference, so I still had to speak with her.
Wow.
But they recommended me.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was pretty. Yeah.
Right. So you kind of had a good feeling because you'd gone through the first filter of interviews, and then the hiring manager actually called you.
Yes.
And you're like, okay, if I do well in this one, I'm gonna do really well. Okay.
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Yeah. So when she closes out, how do you end the conversation? How do you clinch it? What did you say? Because obviously over the phone you can't shake her hand.
Yeah, of course.
You can't say, I'm gonna do it really well. You can't read her body language. That's what I'm getting at. It's a little harder when you're on the phone. I don't know. Was it face-to-face video chat?
It was phone.
It was
call.
just a voice,
yes.
over the voice.
Yes.
Okay. So how do you close it?
I think at that point I just tried to show her that, or tell her how grateful I was to even be considered, and just thank her for it, know, and told her, I was excited to hear back, and I just wanted to show her how excited I was to even be considered for it.
Okay. All right. So. Congratulations on that. But I do want to ask a couple more questions because you do have, and I want you to know how fortunate you are that you went to this first conference and that you did really well. You came out with an internship. What do you think sets you apart from other individuals that probably have not had an internship and or competing for that same position? What do you think sets you apart? Was it, you mentioned the networking, pre-networking before leading to that conference, but obviously some students had done some of the similar things, but what sets you apart?
I think one of the things that might set me apart is probably that I took an interest in engineering before college, and not just interest as in like I want to study that, but as in I actually joined clubs and I actually took on hands-on experiments and projects to get to know something about it.
When you say beforehand, you mean high school?
Before college.
Before college.
Yeah.
You say, so in high school, what kind of clubs were you in? Like robotics, Bex IQ, Bex CDR, FRC? What
I was
were
in
you
an
doing?
FRC club.
FRC club.
Yeah, I was one of the people that actually started the club there.
So you took a leadership position role on that. Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
So
was this with Joe Amato or who was?
No, it was Bernardo Escobedo.
Bernardo Escobedo, okay.
Bernardo
So
Escobedo.
shout out to Bernardo Escobedo from Montgomery. Is he still at Montgomery?
Yes, he's still teaching.
He's still teaching.
He's still teaching
awesome.
robotics.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so I was one of the ones that started it, and I think something that also set me apart is just also in robotics. I wasn't only in the engineering part, but I also took a big role in the public relations part. So I think
within that same club?
Within the same club. Yeah, so I was in charge of that also. So I think that communication.
So what does that really mean? What were you doing as far as
So I was basically, other than the president,
right,
the lead, I was also one of the representatives of that club. So
when you say representatives, what does that mean? Just within that high school, or you going to, talk to different individuals asking for funding? What does that mean?
So that was one of the things I had to do. I had to write letters out for sponsorships, where I had to talk to different professionals, be it in the engineering field or business or anything else. I had to write out forms for all those different things that I had to do.
And I'm asking questions because I want an audience to know that, it's not just about doing great in math and you become an engineer. It's not just about doing great in physics and you become an engineer. You have to learn how to talk to people, because when you grow into an engineering position, you're still going to work with a group of individuals, a team. And whatever project you tackle, you're going to deal with those individuals. There's always going to be funding that is required for those projects. And within those tasks, when you're a leader, you still have to write proposals. So writing, it's a hard thing to actually visualize or understand for a lot of people that want to go into engineering, but it is an important aspect of it. So you have to learn how to communicate in the verbal and written form.
Of course.
So that's something that you have to learn at an early age. And I think you're right, that might have set you apart between all those individuals. And the fact that you could share that and make them understand and visualize what you went through and how valuable you are or you were at that point, that value still carries on, and you can share that and bring it into the corporation wherever you're interviewing.
Of course.
I think that's
you find out to be true that people do want to work with who they like. So getting that, being good at communicating with other people, be it business, be it casual, be it anything, it really sets you apart at one point, because we're in a field where a lot of people don't know how to communicate just because they always want to do math, they always want to do science, all those things. So that really sets you apart. Being able to communicate with somebody really makes you stand out.
Okay. So you brought a good point here. You talk about the internal culture of the industry, whatever company you're going into. To me, that means you as an individual have internal core values, right? And you have a mission and a vision. Whether you realize it or whether you actually thought about it and you actually understand what that is. But if you sit and think about it, you will come up with values that you have and things that you really want to be unshakable on, if that makes any sense. Okay, so I'm going to ask this question. You can say yes or no. Did you look at the mission and the vision and the core values of any of those companies that you tackled? And did you say, what is the mission and vision for X company, and does it align with my internal core values? Did you go through that exercise?
Truthfully, I did not.
You did not.
I did
okay.
not. Yeah.
Okay. The reason I'm asking is because for students, and this is a little bit of advice to you and to the audience here. If you're going to go into engineering, it's an appealing career. Why? You get to build stuff, you get to work with different cool programs, and then you get to the field, the industry, and then you develop this wonderful career.
Yeah.
But are you happy enough, or are you going to be happy enough because you're going to make a lot of money? If you're in a company that does not align with your core values, you could be paid $1 million and you're not going to be happy. Why? Because they could be making weapons, and let's say you're against weaponry, but their mission and vision is to actually build weapons.
Yeah.
Or, their mission and vision is to go ahead and make the world a better place. Why? How? That's something that you will find in their mission and vision statements. Along with that, you have to look at the world, at the culture internal to that industry or to that company, to that corporation, and say, what do they value? Loyalty? Do they value enthusiasm? Do they value diversity? Do they value honesty? What do they value? And then see yourself and say, do I value all of those? Am I an honorable person, honest? Do I value family? What is actually my core values?
Yes.
So I'm just saying, take time to meditate and to actually look at that. Because when you look at that, you can definitely kind of gauge. It's not 100%, but you can gauge saying the world culture inside of that company is going to be very aligned to what I am. And you mentioned something really well, because you networked with individuals from college in this particular instance. You kind of have a leeway of how is the work culture within that corporation. So you know that you're going to get along really well with those individuals. Now, when you start is when you're really going to find out.
Yes, of course.
And then you're going to say, okay, what is their expectations? And you also, as an internship person, as an intern, you will gauge whether you really enjoy that or not. And you'll have an opportunity. Obviously, you're going to do a really good job and you're going to strive to bring value to them. But at that time, you're also going to gauge whether that company is a good fit for you or not, right?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. So what are your expectations going into college?
My expectations?
Right.
Well, about the work culture, I think I've talked to a lot of people that work in college. I've met a lot of people that work there, and they always enjoy it. So I'm not sure exactly what to expect, apart from the products that I'm gonna be helping make or anything.
Right.
But all I've heard from employees that work there is that they all enjoy it, and I get along with those people too. So I'm really expecting to enjoy that, to enjoy it. Apart from the work I'm going to be doing, I really expect to enjoy that family, I guess you could say.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it's been a couple months now since you actually got that offer.
Yes.
And you're back from that conference.
Yes.
You're still active in SHPE, San Diego
Yes,
State, right? Now, the post, the winding down excitement, reality continues. What are your plans at this point?
My plans?
Yes,
for
right.
SHPE?
For you as a student, obviously, is do good in class. But what are you focusing on other than textbooks and classes? And how are you preparing for this last leg of your college career?
My last leg, right. I think I just want to. Oh, that's a tough question. I think I just want to finish off strong.
Okay.
Be it in school, be it in SHPE or anything. Right. I just want to make sure I finish off strong.
So what position are you holding? You're an officer in San Diego State
I'm
SHPE,
the
right?
vice president external.
Okay, you're the vice president. So when you say finish off strong, what does that mean?
Well, I have a high school conference coming up.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right. Awesome. Yeah. When is that going to take place?
That's going to be April 24th.
April 24th. Yes. Okay. So it's a high school conference at San Diego State. Is there a name for it?
Not yet. It's
Not
still,
yet. You're
it's still in
coming.
the plans.
So are you
It's still in plans.
the lead organizer in it?
I am.
You are.
Yes.
Okay. How many students are you anticipating? Is it just for San Diego County students, high schools within, or are you going to extend an invitation to LA County, to external students from high school? How are you dealing with it?
So my plan,
And this is your time to do a plug-in for
Yes.
that conference, right? Yeah.
my plan is to have about 200 students.
Okay.
Which is relatively bigger than what I believe past years have had.
200
Yes,
students.
200
That's what
students
you're
is
shooting.
relatively bigger. And one of my plans is, of course, since I'm from the South Bay and I identify with the South Bay schools,
Right.
I want those,
More representation
yes, I
from
want
those
more
schools.
representation from those
What do you
schools.
feel that's important? Why do you feel that's important?
Because I think the schools down here still don't have as many STEM or engineering programs as they probably should have.
Okay.
I think that mindset of going into a career in any STEM field, I think it's still something that's barely starting or barely growing. So I kind of want to take my part in making it grow, especially for the Hispanic students where we have parents that are immigrants and
Right.
came here for hard work and not necessarily to study at a college or anything like that. So a lot of those students still don't have an idea of what engineering even is. So I kind of want to start that up, try to help start that off at
Right.
least.
Okay.
And that's my goal, yeah.
So that brings up a couple more questions. How and at what age did you find out what engineering is? How did you find out what engineering is? Do you have any family members that are engineers?
I did not.
You did
I
not.
have long distance relatives that are
engineers.
but I didn't know what it was exactly.
Okay.
I would just hear the term. Even when I was in robotics, I didn't know what I was doing was
Okay.
engineering at one point.
Okay.
So I think it was like halfway through high school where I really found out what it was.
So you
or
were
had
at
an
that
idea.
time 16,
I was about
17
16, yeah,
when you
16 years
started
old.
figuring out
Yeah.
what it was. So let me ask you a question off of that. And this is, I laugh because this question, I've thought about it myself. And there's a post answer and there's a pre-answer and a post answer for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to see how you gauge with it, how you compare to that. Before you found out engineering or before you actually went to San Diego State,
Yes.
when they said, what do you see yourself working at? What did you answer? This is when you're in high school, at the high school level.
I didn't know.
You didn't know.
I didn't know,
What did you
yeah.
envision yourself doing when you got out of high school?
I knew I wanted
And
to be an
working.
engineer.
Okay.
Of course, that was what I was going to study. But I didn't know much about companies. I didn't know much about how the workplace was like.
Right.
And even the positions I could get as a mechanical engineer, I could be hired as.
So-
I didn't
so-
know much about them.
So let me dig a little deeper on that. You can visualize that there's this nebulous engineering
Yes.
thing, right? And you're like, okay, they work at X and Y companies,
Yes.
right? But what did you think in your mind and your gut? What is actually work? I'm talking about what you visualized. And so was it actually as simple as saying, yeah, I'm going to be in an office and I'm going to be in front of a computer, I'm going to be designing. That's what I'm getting at. Did you see that? Did you have that in your mind? Did you already know that that's what you were going to be doing? For me, and I'll tell you, for me, when somebody asked me, what do you see yourself doing? It was either being an actual mechanic
Yeah.
or it was working as a laborer, putting concrete on the floor, or doing yard work, or being a cleaning office individual. That's what I saw myself as. Why? Because I didn't have role models that shared with me, this is what engineering is. But I did have my father, my dad.
Yeah.
He would say, if you study, you'll find a path.
Yeah.
And if you study, education will get you places that I cannot show you. So I didn't know what he really meant by that, because visually, I only saw and I only had this tangible relation to what hard labor was. So I want to see if you had that yourself.
Well, I had a weird experience with I wouldn't say weird. Weird is probably the wrong word, but the cool thing was that my mom did go to college.
Okay.
She went to college in Mexico, and she's a kindergarten teacher.
Okay.
But my dad, on the other hand, only finished up until middle school, I believe.
Okay.
So I had both sides of the spectrum, where my dad was the hard work, hard labor, and my mom was a teacher when it knew about what it takes to study, to go to college, and enjoys her job.
Right.
So I kind of saw both sides of that. In high school, what I would think about was, which side do I want, you know?
Right.
Was it going to college, do something I enjoy, or go straight to work and do the hard labor?
Right.
So I kind of did envision both sides. Did envision being in. So yeah, I did envision both sides, and I just kind of had to take that choice about what I wanted.
So you actually had that kind of guidance from it within your internal immediate parents.
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's awesome. Okay, so now that you're in this path and this is your first internship, and I'm pretty sure you're still really happy and really motivated, and you're the SHP vice president, and you're planning this conference. And how are you gonna actually reach out to the schools and to the students?
I think what I want to do, of course, emailing and going to schools myself. Okay. But I want to reach out especially to the STEM and robotics and all these different science clubs and engineering clubs, because those are the students that are going to be interested in it.
Right.
I would
obviously this is going to be a guy that geared towards engineering and some sort of STEM field, right?
Of course.
So that's why you're targeting those groups.
Yeah. So they're actually interested in it, and they'll actually enjoy the conference.
Okay. So is it all kind of planned out, or you're just starting to plan it out in the middle of the planning? Is it going to be with workshops? Is it going to be labs? I don't know. Can you kind of tell us the dynamics of how it's going to work?
Right now, I'm barely starting it.
Okay.
Barely starting to plan it, since I still have about 3 months beforehand.
Right.
But my plan is to have it as workshops and possibly panels.
Okay.
So
panels of professionals.
Panels
of students. Mostly students.
I would think students.
College students.
Yes.
Okay. From San Diego State, obviously. The most part. Okay.
San Diego State, and maybe other colleges.
Okay, so you're gonna do a collaboration of other students from other universities, be it USD or UCSD. Are you also gonna invite community college students to participate in those panels?
You
don't have to answer. I'm just asking if you don't have the right answer right now.
I'm still in the starting phases right now. So my goal is, of course, having the San Diego State students come in. But depending on how it goes, I'm always open to the idea of having the community colleges or the other universities from San Diego come in and help out.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. That's cool. So this is what you're doing. You're focusing on this conference, and what do you expect off of, when is the internship over?
The internship, I don't have an end date yet.
Oh,
so
it's an open date. Yes. You have a start date, but they didn't tell you it's a 3-month internship.
Oh, no.
No, okay. So you are actually going to graduate in June?
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
That's the plan, yes.
Okay. And then, so when does the internship start?
Oh, this June. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
No, I'll be graduating. I'll be doing a 5th year. So this is my 4th year. I'll be doing a 5th year. Okay. Yeah. So after this semester ends, my internship starts on May 18th.
Okay. May 18th. Okay. That's when your internship starts. Okay. Yes. And then it's an open-ended internship.
Yeah.
There's no end date. So depending on how you do, whether you like it or not, you'll do a wonderful experience there. Do you envision yourself, and this is something that I think you need to think about, are you going to actually decide to stay in the county of San Diego, California? Are you open to, when you actually get a more permanent position, if you want to move out of Collins? Do you see yourself pursuing opportunities elsewhere, or are you just so focused on staying in California, San Diego for the most part? Well, what is your goal?
Right now, I have no preference.
You have no preference.
I've had this question a lot, and that's what I've always said. Right now, I'm not in a position to be, I would say, picky.
Right.
Maybe. about where I want to go. I just want experience. So
Right.
if that experience is in San Diego, then great.
Right.
You know, if that experience is in, I don't know, Michigan, then
So
also
you're pretty
great.
open to a lot of
pretty open
opportunities.
to it,
Okay,
yeah.
awesome, great. Because they will ask you, are you open to
yeah.
transfer, to
Yeah.
travel, to go wherever
Yeah.
we need to send you? And that is something that some individuals are very, very
Yeah.
adamant about saying, no, I want to stay in San Diego.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that you know that if you respond that way, that you kind of close doors.
Oh, yeah.
But you have to be happy.
Yeah.
So if you're happy with those opportunities and those options not showing up on the table, that's fine. But I just want to make sure that those individuals also listening, they make a conscious decision. They don't just do it on the spot. So you have to think about this sort of stuff.
Yeah, and I
Right.
found out at the conference that, I saw that if you say you don't really want to travel, it closes opportunities for you. Because
Exactly.
even if you work in San Diego,
Right.
there's possibilities that you might have to travel
Yeah.
to other places, other
Right.
cities, other states,
or other
whatever,
countries
or
for
other
that
countries.
matter. Yeah,
of
and you're
course.
going to be traveling
Yeah.
25% of the time, 50% of the time. They have to kind of be upfront about that. And if you're not okay with that, because you feel that you need to be close to your family, etc., that's the way it goes.
Yeah,
that's the
of
way it
course.
goes. Yeah.
Each person has their own preferences, but I would say it's a good idea.
All right, awesome. So I got a couple more questions. These
Yeah.
ones are not related to the conference. These ones are more on a personal level. So let's say, what books have you read that are not required reading for any classes, if any?
Well,
What's the latest book that you read?
I'm not a big reader,
Okay.
truthfully.
Okay.
I find myself getting a bit bored
Okay.
reading, but for myself, just to learn, I'm a big fan of music. So
Music,
yes.
okay, all right. You
So,
play any instruments?
I do. I
Okay.
play the drums and
Okay.
I also sing.
Oh, wow.
yes.
Okay, awesome.
So
Okay.
I do try to try to improve on that a lot.
So do you still practice? Or?
Yes, I
Okay.
do still
How
practice,
often
yeah.
do you practice the drums
The drums
or the singing?
The
or
drums,
whatever you practice?
lately I haven't been doing much just
Okay.
because it takes so much time and just to set up everything. And sometimes when I'm home, it's already late and I don't really want to, wake up the neighbors.
Right.
But the singing, whenever I have free time, and it could be even just in my car where I'm just trying to
Right,
listen to
okay.
notes, trying to match pitches,
Okay.
doing anything like that,
Okay.
Just as much as I can, just try to
Okay.
improve.
Oh,
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. So you're not reading it. Do you listen to any podcast? Who are your role models
My role models.
that you kind of admire?
It's a tough question. Yeah.
Be it somebody that you follow in Instagram, or that you say, hey, this business person has really cool stuff that I might like, or this engineer, or the SpaceX person that you look up to.
I wouldn't say I have anybody specific, but I do try to keep I do find myself just going hours on hours just looking at videos of like engineering projects, just cool ideas that I would want to try out one day maybe. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure I have somebody specific.
So you're not really sure. Okay, awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna ask you a question that kind of goes back, and you have let's assume you have a time machine.
Yeah.
Right. You jump into it. You go back, and you meet, let's say, 10-year-old Alfonso.
Yeah.
Right. What would you say, from your point of view now? How old are you?
I'm 21.
21.
Yes.
So 11 years back. What would you say to that 10-year-old Alfonso? He's probably in elementary school.
Yes.
What would you say to him?
What would I say to him?
3 things that you definitely have to share. You have about 2 minutes with him, and you cannot spend any more time.
Yeah.
And you have to share that and get out.
I think one of the things would probably be tell him you're not going to study music, because that was my idea.
That was your idea?
Yeah,
You wanted to be a musician?
I wanted to be a musician.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, I wanted
Was
to be a
it
musician.
hard rock, or what type of music?
I played rock.
Okay.
Later on in middle school and high school, I did play jazz. So So I tried to learn different ones. But yeah, when I was little, that was my idea, because at 10 years old, I think was when I started to play drums.
Oh, wow.
Which was my first instrument.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was That's probably one of the things.
So you're gonna tell him you're not gonna play drums?
Yeah, that's not your living.
Give that up.
Yeah.
No, I mean, focus on something else.
Something
right?
else. Yeah. What's another thing?
Yeah. That you need to share with your younger self to be successful.
To be successful, I think I would say, be more involved in different clubs.
Be more involved at an earlier age?
Yeah, at an earlier age.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think I took more time into learning music than I did into the engineering aspect, and I could have learned it from beforehand. I could, or at least I could have known, at least figure out what it was, just to have an idea of what I was gonna get into.
Okay.
I think I could have done. I think that would have been something I would have said.
So focus more on engineering aspects. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What is the last piece of advice you would share with your younger self?
I think we just tell them to be ready.
Be ready.
Yeah.
Be ready for what?
There's so many things like the school and the different clubs and the engineering.
Yeah.
There's so many things that I wasn't really maybe prepared to go into at times, where I would be scared, but just be ready.
Would you tell them be ready or just be open-minded or willing to accept challenges? Is that kind of what you're getting at?
Yeah. I think be willing to accept different challenges.
Okay.
I think. Yeah.
All right. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, one last question. What is your definition of success at this point?
Success.
Yes.
I think my parents at one point made me realize that success is really enjoying what you do.
Enjoying what you do.
Yeah, because like I said, my mom is a kindergarten teacher,
right?
And my dad didn't go to school, so he didn't get that luxury of choosing what he wants to do necessarily.
Right. So he's got to find whatever job to sustain the family.
Luckily, he's been successful with his job, but he doesn't necessarily like it, and my mom does.
But it makes a living.
Yeah, it makes a living. Yeah, of course. So I think they both really made that stand out to me that, you really should like what you do. Okay. My mom enjoys her job. Okay. So even though maybe at times my dad might have a higher salary, my dad still doesn't really enjoy it. Wow. But my mom does. And that's what they made me realize is success.
Right.
Yeah, enjoy what you do.
Enjoy what you do. Okay, well, with that, thank you so much. Thank you, Alfonso. Thank you for being here with Success Innovation and talking to us, sharing that wonderful experiences and wealth of knowledge and experience that you have with the audience, myself. So for all the viewers and listeners out there, thank you so much for joining another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. Thank you for watching another wonderful episode of Success Innovation. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I enjoyed making it and that you learned something off of this episode. If you found this episode of yours, please share with anybody else that you would like to. Please have them subscribe and share this information. Thank you. Also, connect with Alfonso Cota, and you can find the information for his social media in the notes below. I look forward to seeing you in another wonderful episode of Success Innovation.